Hey guys, this is Densuo, and today we're going to be covering some basics with El Fuerte. We're going to do an overview so that you guys can understand the basic aim of what you're going to be looking to do with El Fuerte. A lot of people think that El Fuerte is random. I beg to differ. He's not random. You want them to think you're being random, but ultimately, you as El Fuerte, you are not random. You're constantly thinking, you're constantly moving ahead, or at least planning something. The basics as far as damage for El Fuerte is things that come from his mix-up game, from getting a knockdown, or from whenever they make a mistake, and you hit them with a run stop fears, case in point here. The other thing that's cool about El Fuerte, besides the fact that you can go in for the mix-up or, for damaging the opponent from a very... I'm sorry, let me start that over. The ways to really win with him is as follows. You're going to deal damage with him through his mix-up. You're going to punish with things like, for example, run stop fears or EX guacamole for them doing things in the air that they shouldn't be doing, baiting them into either of your ultras, or for example punishing something very slow with either of the ultras actually. And of course you can also win by effective turtling and a good keep away game that El Fuerte has because of his run and several other moves that he has to assist him in being evasive. As far as health and stun, he has 1,000 stun, which is the normal amount for the game. He has poor health. He has 900, as opposed to 1,000, which is the quote unquote average or normal health. So you got to be careful with him as far as messing up. He's a wrestler, so he's of the high flying risky guys. A lot of his moves are very easy to punish. Like his tostada press, if it gets blocked, it's pretty easy to punish with several different things. His fajita buster, if they're crouching, it's gonna miss, so they're gonna end up, punishing the crap out of you. His quesadilla bomb is very, very unsafe if blocked, and the level 1 quesadilla bomb is actually punishable even when you hit them successfully because it doesn't knock them down. Anyway, he's actually pretty fun. It's just that you have to understand something. He's not a top tier character. He's not a character who's very easy to win with. You have to put the work in with him to be effective. You need to understand what he can do and what he can't do. That being said, the worst situation to be in with El Fuerte, hint hint people that hate El Fuerte, is when you are knocked down. You have to do your best to be careful and not panic when he is on the floor. I mean, sure, you can do an EX guacamole to try to get away, but in Arcade Edition the recovery was nerfed, so it's a lot more punishable. You can still use it to escape. For example, when certain characters do things that are very, slow to recover and so on and so forth. But you have to know when to do it, because if not, then you're just going to get knocked down again, and now you are still on the floor, still in a crappy situation, and now you have one less EX stock. Now, what does that mean? You need to learn how to block. Rock that down back, learn how to block properly, block correctly, know when you want to, take a grab, maybe when to jump, and don't get desperate to wall jump. Sometimes just jumping neutrally might be the answer that you're looking for, because they'll be jumping forward expecting you to try to wall jump. Now you just air through them. Now you can jump off the wall. Now you're clear. So, you got to be patient with him, but you also got to know when to when to attack with him. So, what am I getting at? El Fuerte in general is a character who doesn't really have a set battle plan. For example, Cammy's all about rushing down. You're not really going to see a Cammy that's going to be running around turtling. She has to get in there to do her damage. So, in that respect, El Fuerte is not like that. You can stay forward in pressure. For example, jabs. Keep going with jabs or whatever, doing your run stop pressure, and so on and so forth. But you can also run the hell away real quick. I mean, you got several moves that get you away from the opponent. You have several moves that you can alter the distance that they travel. Same thing with his backdash. Same thing with his wall jump or several of his specials. So don't forget about that particular thing. You have to keep in mind all your options with El Fuerte, especially with him as opposed to other characters due to his low health and how easy it is to get smashed if you're constantly getting knocked down. So always keep in mind of your escape options. You know, don't panic, be patient, keep your cool. But then, of course, when you are on the offense, don't forget to know the difference between when to keep after them with your mix-up and when to, you know, back off and run away a little bit. Besides, El Fuerte, in that respect, also, he's just as much playing to the character matchup as opposed to, I'm sorry, he can play the matchup with the character, but he can also play the matchup against the actual player more than other characters. Not that many people use El Fuerte, so that can be considered a slight advantage. But once a person knows how to take down El Fuerte, then that's what's going to happen. Another cool thing about El Fuerte is that a lot of people play him very differently. If you look up videos of, for example, Spabrog, he plays pretty aggressively. He likes to keep people pressured because, hey, he has the execution for it. Me, personally, hey, I'm a scrub. I like running away. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean turtling and running away is scrubby. If you think so, well, hey, you suck. I'll go double time. I'll go beat you by double time on one of these days or something, whatever. But the whole point is know when to change your method. Sometimes you want to attack aggressively. Sometimes you want to back off, give them some space. I mean, hey, there's going to be players who are going to play into it. You know, weaker players, sometimes even better players, will just hang back and throw fireballs all day while you're busy, you know, focusing them for meter or using a guacamole throw to jump over them and build meter while you have the life lead, and then time starts ticking down. Next thing you know, they're getting desperate, and then they run into a quesadilla. And then they're back at full screen, wondering what to do now. Very important note I want to say about turtling. Yes, like I said, you can run away with them very good, but please, 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 please don't corner yourself. Certain characters, Balrog, Guile, Vega, Honda, they'll kill you quickly. They will kill you quickly once they corner you. So be smart about how you're turtling and how you're running away. Sometimes you want to go ahead and while you're turtling, hey, throw out a poke. There are several different things you can do. You know, just throw one out there here and there. Be careful, of course, of which you're throwing out, but don't, you know, give ground so easily. You know, you can play keep away, and hey, if anything, when they're jumping, if they try to jump at you, you can always just run right under it. You can always slide right under it, things like that. Or hey, even better, you just EX run right through whatever it is that they're doing. Next thing you know, hey, they might panic when they throw a fireball at you, and you just, hey, run right through it. Now you have an opportunity to deal some quick damage when, hey, you were full screen just a second ago. So even though El Fuerte doesn't have fireballs, all he has to do, spend a little meter, eat right through that fireball. Next thing you know, sure, you spend some meter for a measly, you know, 100 damage, but that's 100 less health that they have. And now they may be a lot more careful as far as doing fireballs. Again, that's more playing towards the player as opposed to the matchup, but I still think it's something that you want to keep in mind. So yeah, that's the whole thing about El Fuerte. Variety is the spice of life. You will rarely see two Fuertes that play the same. Everybody has their own little tricks or their own little shenanigans or their own little solid play. The other thing I wanted to say about that is to be careful and not mash. A lot of El Fuerte's normals are cancelable into special. So what does that mean is that if you're not careful, you're going to do what I just did. That doesn't combo. So by you doing that, now you just finished doing a random guacamole right in front of them, and then Ryu is going to proceed to beat the crap out of you. Or Zangief is going to power drive the crap out of you, and then you're going to be in his really nasty 50-50 game, and then El Fuerte is dead. And we don't want that because El Fuerte is the coolest character in Street Fighter history. There, I said it. Anyway, that really pretty much covers a basic overview of him. Don't get knocked down. All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and TLDR everything for all the noobs out there. TLDR, El Fuerte on offense, You can attack with the mix-up, punish things with EX Guacamole, Run Stop Fierce, Run Stop Pressure, Ultras. On defense, don't get knocked down. Be patient, be mindful of your escape options, and use them as you need them. Don't be desperate to escape, otherwise you will find yourself dizzy. You will find yourself with less meter than you had at the start of it, and then you will find yourself KO'd and losing. Don't forget to attack and turtle, or excuse me, mix between attacking and turtling, because that's how you can eventually surprise them. And last but not least, I said surprise, that is not random. It's all a plan. It's all a setup. You're always setting things up with El Fuerte. It's kind of like a chess match, if you will. He's basically playing high-speed chess. That pretty much covers the basics. Next, we'll move on to normals. Then we'll move on to specials. We'll move on to the ultras. And then we'll cover the other things that are more advanced, which my, noobish self doesn't have the execution for, but I'll at least point you in the right direction for it. Until then, have fun and viva!